Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. My guests this evening are Marcy Webster and Rachel Webster to talk about what's going on, because Rachel is a cancer survivor, and Marcy and Rachel and their family were actually the benefactors of the HK Holiday Show last year. So ladies, welcome. How are we?
Good.
We're good.
Good. How are you, Rachel?
Good.
Good. How are you, Marcy?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming down. We got to tell a little bit of background. Last year when we did this interview, you guys were the benefactors of the HK Holiday Show. I was here in studio, and you guys joined me remotely from where?
So we were in Boston at that time. We did our primary cancer care at Connecticut Children's, and they took wonderful care of us. But for the proton radiation, we don't have proton radiation here in Connecticut. So we were at Mass General, and actually Rachel had caught COVID at that time. So we were tuning in or phoning in from the Mass General hospital room. They took great care of Rachel, and it was a short stay.
Now, what type of cancer did Rachel have?
You want to handle that one?
Sure. I had Ewing sarcoma, a rare type of bone cancer, in my left leg.
Okay. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about the cancer?
So, as Rachel shared, it's a rare bone cancer that normally affects kids, and it's probably about 250 kids are diagnosed with it in the United States each year. We found it thinking that Rachel had sprained her ankle. She had sort of like a lump on her leg, and at first the pediatrician had sort of dismissed it, but we had asked for an x-ray, and they actually, that day of the x-ray, they took Rachel over to Connecticut Children's to the hematology oncology floor and said that it looked like Ewing sarcoma, and so we had a biopsy and some things that had confirmed it. And it was in her tibia or fibia. It was involved in her ankle and a little bit below her knee. So treatment for that type of cancer includes, believe it or not, like 9 months of chemotherapy, radiation, and then something they call local control, which is a nice way of saying surgery. Rachel's doctors recommended above the knee leg amputation. So Rachel lost her leg on June 17th, 2022.
Oh no.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're adapting pretty well, getting around. I heard you went back to school.
Yes.
How's school?
Good.
It's school.
Yeah.
And Marcy, from what I understand, you actually teach, and you're a teacher at Haddam Killingworth.
Yeah, I'm so blessed to have a job at Haddam Killingworth High School. Prior to Rachel's cancer diagnosis, I always worked on the holiday show.
Okay.
Never dreamed, right, that I would be the beneficiary of that incredible show. I've been there now for 20 years. I teach the high school choral program, and I direct the musical and the fall play. And again, I worked on the holiday show for, oh goodness, all sorts of different types of charitable organizations over the years. Until Rachel's unfortunate diagnosis. But HK is a special school, special place, wonderful kids, wonderful community, very caring people. And you know, if you're going to work anywhere during a tragedy, someplace like HK that is truly a family, where the teachers and the students and the families, the administrators, the superintendent, everyone, you know, cares. They want to know about your life. They want to help. And we got a lot of support during that time.
Now, how was it being the benefactor of the HK Holiday Show last year?
It was hard. It was hard because it lent gravity to the situation to know that we were in need like that. You know, I'd seen families come through, children with different diseases, or Habitat for Humanity, the Connecticut Cancer Foundation, different charitable organizations that have a true need. And so being a part of being the beneficiary of the holiday show, I think helped me to realize, oh, this is like a real, seems silly, right, to say this to you, because I know that we all know that cancer is a serious disease, but it kind of made it more serious to me that we needed that support and help. But it was also amazing. We felt very loved and supported. it was a way for my students, I feel, to really, jump in and do something to help our family. So that was good. What am I missing? Did I skip it? Skip anything?
No, you're good.
And Rachel was super sick during that time, just in terms of, it was the end of her chemo treatment. So, for a child to go through chemotherapy, that's when they're really at their weakest. But she was really brave and wanted to be on the show and wanted to be a part of it.
What did you do when you were on the show?
So long ago, I can't actually remember. Did they interview me?
Yeah.
Yeah, they interviewed me and I answered a few questions.
Oh, cool.
And we were there just throughout the morning.
Yeah.
Some of Rachel's teachers came on to the show, her principal, Keith McGilvery from Fox 61.
From Fox, sure.
Yep, who's been a real staunch supporter of Team Rachel and helped us during the year that Rachel was sick, was there. So that was really nice.
I've never met Keith, but he seems like a nice guy. I watch him every morning.
It's funny, sometimes we meet people and think, this one should be friends with this one, and this you should be friends with Keith. And we know some other people too that we would love for you to meet and know. That would be a great connection for you for this show.
Really?
For the work that you do.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Now, as far as, how did we talked about this even earlier, but let's talk about adaptive sports. What's Rachel up to? Actually, I'll ask Rachel. Rachel, what are you up to?
I'm looking into 2 Paralympian sports. I really like wheelchair basketball, which
Okay.
I've been doing every Saturday.
All right.
And we're looking into skiing.
Yeah.
All right.
And I also am looking into archery.
Nice. Bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Excellent. The law of Sir Isaac Newton, where you put the apple on top of the head and see.
That's not the kind of archery I'm going to let her do.
And see, oh, come on, Mom, what fun are you? See what happens.
Right, my insurance goes through the roof. Next she'll be driving, and I know that will increase my insurance as well.
Yeah, right.
We found some programs through the Hospital for Special Care, which is a great resource if people are looking for adaptive sports programs. So we really recommend them out of New Britain. And
Okay.
Rachel, the wheelchair basketball foundation that she's found is through the Ryan Martin Foundation. So if people want to Google search either one of those, they can find out a lot more information about those great programs. The Hospital for Special Care Adaptive Sports is provided at no cost. So, it is a charitable organization that's looking for support and donations. And they do amazing work in our community.
Now tell us about those foundations.
Tell you more about them?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I'm still kind of at the entry level of them, so I don't know a lot about them, but I do know that there aren't a lot of resources for kids who want to be active in adaptive sports here in Connecticut so far that I found. Rachel was at a camp this summer, and it was Camp No Limits.
Okay.
Do you want to tell Pete about that?
So through, was it PT?
Yeah. Yep.
Through physical therapy, we found out there was a camp for kids with limb differences.
Okay.
And so my mom signed me up, and we went in August, I think, to this camp based in Quinnipiac.
Okay.
So we went there, and it was really cool experiencing all these kids who had different kinds of limb differences.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was the place where Rachel was exposed to sled hockey, which, Quinnipiac has that great ice arena. And they brought in a whole bunch of different equipment so that Rachel could see what it was like. Quinnipiac, right, just won that big hockey tournament.
That's right, yeah, they won
So
the
the team was
tournament.
there to kind of interact with the kids. You sit down for sled hockey, and you have, you use this sort of like a paddle to kind of move along.
Oh, okay.
And to score your goals. And then Rachel tried the wheelchair basketball. It's a little bit unusual because Rachel is a cancer survivor
Yep.
and is also an amputee. So
Right.
kind of two different unusual buckets for a kid.
Right.
And, Rachel kind of has something in both buckets. So it's been an interesting journey to try to find, where she fits in the world in that way, and what resources we can provide for her so that she can find her people, here in Connecticut and in New England. And along the way, we're meeting a lot of interesting and wonderful people, talking to a lot of people, and just making connections. And we hope to be a resource to families as well as they navigate either cancer or, if they become disabled in their life. We would love to provide them with some of the knowledge that we're learning.
Now, like you said before, obviously, being a member of the HK community, everybody stood by you, and obviously, you and I have a lot of HK friends in common.
We do.
I could think of a couple off the top of my head who are not here right now.
That's true.
Yes.
I told them not to. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yes, well, I think HK has an amazing tradition. I was lucky enough, since I was hired in 2004, to meet some of the legends and work with them. People like Chuck Lewis, who were so instrumental, and really Connie Bombassi in bringing the holiday show to life. That just amazing tradition and that legacy that they established. Jim Kane, really just raising, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars for worthy causes. And so it is kind of full circle to be able to be a part of that beginning, to work on that, to be the beneficiary of that. And Rachel and I are really looking forward to supporting this year's holiday show.
Yeah.
Getting the word out, helping to find donations for the fishbowl, and just spread the word about that important work.
Would you guys mind sticking around for another segment?
We would love to.
All right, we'll be right back.
Thanks.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
One of the benefits of coming to UConn, where you have a whole group of people working with you, we all work together, really give complete care.
And you're also getting the newest ideas that are out there because you're an academic medical center. We stay on the cutting edge with technology.
The patient's always the #1 priority.
And helping somebody feel better and then watching them perform better and live their best life.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Rachel and Marcy Lewis. Welcome. Welcome back, guys. How are we?
We're good, thank you.
Good. All right, so Rachel and Marcy Webster, I stand corrected, thank you. And so, Marcy, we were talking a little bit about, in the first segment, your background. We didn't get into the nuts and bolts of your background as far as your teaching career goes. Let's open up this segment talking about your teaching career.
Well, I'm really blessed to have spent the bulk of my teaching career at HK.
Okay.
I was hired by Charlie Masunas after working at Regional District 11 for 2 years.
Okay.
And it was a great school to kind of walk into. It's a really formidable complex with an amazing group of teachers of all different ages. Some of the teachers that I came in with were alumni from HK, so that's really special for our high school. And I think it says a lot about our community and about the school that we work in, that people who came through the program want to come back and work there and want to give back to the kids. So I've always been the choir teacher there. I've been blessed enough to be able to also direct all the musicals. And I took on the regular drama program too after the girls grew up a little bit more. So I've been doing that. I can't remember what date that was, but I've been doing that now for about 6 years. I'm the fine arts department head, so I get to oversee the art teachers, the band teacher. That really just means that I have to write up their budgets
The
and
fun
remind
stuff.
them to write things in the newsletter. Yep, and create the data reports and things like that. But I have a great job. I feel very blessed to get up in the morning and for what I do for a living. My students enjoy the electives that they choose. They work hard. We've been able to travel over the years, win some awards, make great memories together. And my girls, Catherine and Rachel, have been a part of that as well, coming to rehearsals and concerts and things like that. They grew up, with our students, so they know the kids well. And my HK family and my real family are just one big family.
And you get to hang out with Mr. Kane all day.
That's
which,
true.
which is always a good time.
Absolutely. He is the living legend at HK.
Yes.
We think he was probably born in the building. Yep, there's no video because videos weren't invented then, but we're fairly certain that he came with the building.
He's a good guy. I've met
Yes.
him a couple of times, and he's
Yeah.
been down here, so it's...
Well, he has a great legacy at HK as well.
Yes.
And I know that the students and parents all appreciate him for the work that he does and just for the great guy that he is.
Now, how did the holiday show funds help your family?
You want to talk about that, Rachel?
Sure. So my mom, she wasn't working while she was taking care of me in Boston, so we took the money to pay for my medical bills, the mortgage, boring stuff.
Yep, it really was great timing and just the perfect amount of money to kind of make up the gap while I was unpaid and we lived in Boston because, as I said, proton radiation unfortunately is not available in Connecticut, although there is a grassroots movement to look into building a proton radiation center in Danbury.
Oh, is there?
And we've been trying to support that endeavor. We've written a letter of support and have offered, to testify about the importance of having proton radiation in Connecticut. If that had been the case, I would have continued to be able to work. But we're thankful that the holiday show was able to fill that gap during that time for us.
Now, let's talk about cancer and disability advocacy. How are we making a difference?
So I think 2 weeks ago, I was at Quinnipiac talking to some PT students about my leg.
Okay.
Like to give them some information about cancer and my prosthetic.
Okay.
I also went on Fox News with Keith McGinty to talk about Ewing sarcoma.
You gave an interview, right, for a national magazine called The Adventures in Odyssey Clubhouse magazine, which is a Christian publication for kids.
Oh, cool.
And Rachel was able to share her story about pediatric cancer so that she had like a wide audience of kids that kind of understood, what her journey was like and what it was like to go through treatment and also to get back to school, after everything that she faced. So we feel like it's really important for her to be able to, as she's interested, to share her story with whomever we think kind of needs to hear it, right? So the kids at Quinnipiac perhaps have never had the opportunity to maybe see a prosthetic on an 11-year-old or understand what it's like for her to deal with gym class in middle school or even just negotiating the halls, backpacks, recess, things like that. The students that were taking that adaptive sports class are in training to be not just physical therapists, but occupational therapists or counselors. So lots of different types of careers, in medicine and different ways that Rachel can advocate for those that will come after her.
Now, what did you tell the group when you were up at Quinnipiac?
I talked about mainly my experience as an amputee, what I have been going through at school with all the problems, disadvantages and advantages, things like that. And then they came up with solutions or advice.
Okay. Now, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of being an amputee and especially going to school?
Well, I had been out quite a lot because of treatment, and
Okay.
it was sort of like socially difficult for me to go back to school, being gone for so long.
Yeah.
And also, it's also sometimes a little bit difficult to get around with my prosthetic at school because it's not exactly made for someone with a disability. But a good advantage is that there is a good team at my school
Yeah.
who really cares about me. And so,
That's good.
Now, what does it mean that your prosthetic isn't made for somebody with a disability?
I think she was referring more to just the way that the building is, right? Like a lot of us have school buildings that maybe are a little bit older. And so to try to figure out, how to maybe walk even in the halls if it's busy,
Right.
to think about what that looks like and it's from a safety perspective, or, just going in and out of heavier doors. Some of those old buildings have
Oh, yeah.
have those super heavy doors, or if you're using the restroom, you have like the double door for privacy.
yeah.
But then it ends up being just a difficulty. So again, I think Rachel is right that she has a good team, her classroom teacher, principal, the phys ed teacher, the nurse, different people in social work. We've met the physical therapist in the district at Wethersfield. That's the town that we live in. So just bringing the right kind of people together or looking for different resources. Rachel's physical therapist at Connecticut Children's has been a great resource as well. Kind of helping Rachel to see how she can move in a more appropriate way for an 11-year-old, learning even how to run on sort of a basic prosthesis while she waits to sort of decide, as you get older, you have access to fancier technology. But in the meantime, Rachel's learning how to live life again, with the technology that she has available to her.
Now, Rachel, let me ask you this. How, with all the stuff that you've gone on in with your life and with your cancer and your treatment and everything, how do you find it to stay so positive with what's going on?
I don't know. I guess it's just that it was incredibly difficult during treatment, and everything that happened, that it's just so gratifying to be out of it and over with it, and to go through scans, which is something that I do every 3 months to make sure that the cancer has gone away,
Okay.
and get clear checks and be going forward with my prosthetic and signing up for clubs and schools and getting excited for middle school next year and just getting back to what's normal, I guess.
That's a beautiful thought. And Marcy, same question to you. How have you adapted to stay so positive with what's going on?
Well, I think that Rachel is an awesome kid, and we're really proud of her.
Absolutely.
I think you see on people's Facebooks or Instagrams, pictures of smiling kids going through difficulties, even, through cancer, or you see the St. Jude commercials.
Yeah.
And, the reality is that there's a lot more going on than what you see on social media.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like Rachel said, it was a really hard journey for us. And we definitely took it one day at a time. We had a lot of support. My boss, Donna Hayward, was really caring and considerate, came by the house, dropped off food to us. People in our school gave us lots of wonderful and kind gifts, sent cards and letters. Our family was very kind and helpful to us. Our church family was very loving and kind. And so I think you learn to lean on people and take it one day at a time. You know, it seems trite, but normal is, you know, really what you make of it. So if, you know, we're never going to be normal again because I think we've decided that everyone's normal is different, right? So we're learning how to live in this hectic life again as, you know, the cancer frontline treatment is done. But then, you know, we still have things that come up, you know, because of treatment or because of physical therapy or learning how to find new resources. So it's a challenge, but we're grateful for our friends and for, you know, our community. We're grateful to God.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what can others do to support families battling with pediatric cancer?
That's a great question. I think staying in touch with families that are battling cancer, it's very isolating. I think everyone knows someone who's dealt with cancer, and it's a very isolating disease. You know, it causes you to be sick, you have to go in the hospital. So reaching out to people, some of my favorite things that people did for us, there's a friend from church who often just will text me, even just a colored heart, like a different color each day. You know, just something little, nothing too deep. We have someone who sent us money in our GoFundMe just every month. I think it was just $20, but it told us that that family was thinking of us, you know, each month. They were, we were coming to their minds, you know. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was way more than the money. It was the kindness and the consistency that they showed. I think reaching out with anything is great. And it doesn't have to be money or things. It can just be kindness.
Cool. Well, Marcy and Rachel, I want to thank you guys for some time. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Great. We'd love to come back.
Cool. Thanks a lot,
Pete.
guys. On behalf of Marcy and Rachel, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next week.